What's going on, people? What's happening with you? It's Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday Night Football. I was listening to some Nipsey Hussle. It was a great album. You know what I'm saying? But today, what I got for you is, you know, I'm all about, you know, promoting and branding and all of this kind of stuff, and little tidbits that I come across. You know, I want to offer it out. If you are a scent guy, you know, everybody know me, and they know that I'm gonna always have some smells on me. One of the ones that I would tell you guys to reach out for and try to find is called Assad. It's not as pricey, but it's hard to find and it's exclusive. I got a buddy of mine that can, you know, he's a direct wholesaler for him, so I get mine through him. And the smell on it, man, is just it's sweet. It's sensual, and it smells rich. So those three categories that I just that I just talked about, the sweetness is something that catches, you know, the opposite sex nose. It tantalizes the nose. The exotic part of it, or the pheromone part of it, is also the attraction on that also. But the richness is not something that all colognes have. And see, this is a oud, so it's going to be more of a situation where it's oil-based. It is a great smelling product. Great smelling product. Whenever I wear it, it's right on. It's right on there. It's right on there. Because it has a sweetness to it, I would definitely do this. You know, summer, fall. Well, here in Atlanta, you can damn near do it year round because of the weather here. You know, we get about 10, 11 months of really decent weather. We get about a month and a half where it's, you know, it's going to be either cold, and that's maybe, you know, 30s, 40s. Sometime it'll drop down into the 20s every now and then. You know, you'll get 2 or 3 days of it, and then it'll go away. I mean, a couple years ago, it was 80 degrees at Christmas here in Atlanta. So that's just how it is. I'm smoking a Upmann Añejo. This is one of my go-tos. It's perfect point. I mean, it's a perfect price. It's a perfect price point. And it's the kind of cigar, to me, that gives me everything that I'm looking for in that particular cigar for that occasion and for that event. It's not super pricey, but it's really good as far as the components of the cigar. It's a medium to full. It got a little body to it, but it's not light to the point where you're smoking in 20 minutes. You know, no. This is a really, really good one. And they do a great brand. They do a great brand. I mean, Upman, H. Upman in Yeho. So I know I do a lot of stuff where I talk about reactions, personalities, relationships, cigars, smells, cutting, lighting, what to look for in your cigar, white ash. If you got charcoal ash, this is what you're looking at. You know, the different sizes of the cigars. I've done a lot of informative information about just a lifestyle, culture. One thing about this culture is that it's a manly situation. You know, you're gonna have guys that are gonna be smelling good, dressed to impress. Everything's coordinated, and they smoking. So I always try to give little tidbits about stuff that I know that some people might look at and they say, "Hey, I'm gonna pick that up." But like I said, if you get an opportunity to find it. It's called Assad. It's from Dubai, and it's a banger. It's a banger, you know. And it's definitely one of those kind of scents that when you get up and, you know, you either leave or you go to work and you had that on the previous night and, you know, something was happening, whatever the situation might be, and you get up that next morning and you leave. This is one of those that would be a phone call or a text that I still smell you in my pillow. I still smell you in my pillow. And for the guys that know what I mean by that, you know. For the guys that don't know what I mean by that, you know, hey man, just send me a comment and I'll tell you what that means. And so, you know, just being mindful of things. But we're going to get through this week. We're going to remain positive. We're going to remain diligent. And we're going to remain steadfast on whatever the mission is. And I'm telling y'all that, you know, also, you know, this is the start of a week. We're already in October. We are in October. This year has flown by. This year's flown by. And unfortunately, time waits for no one. So you have to be able to make out of it what it is. You know, the last thing that you want to be is someone that's working hard and been working hard for 20 plus years, 30 years. And then at the point where when you start looking at, you know, your sit down years, what do you have planned to do? Who do you plan on spending it with? How do you plan on spending it? Or are you in a position where you can even think about spending it like that? Because let's be realistic. Everybody's not in a position to say, let me call it a day and still be able to live a certain lifestyle that they're living now. You know, some people are going to have to cut back on some things. And I hope that people understand that. But, you know, when you go into retirement, you got to have that money coming in. Because the government is not going to give you, it's not going to be there. Financially, you got to make sure that you are able to be dependent on yourself, you know, and not put pressure on your children to have to take care of you and be there for you. So, you know, if you need someone that you can call in and say, hey, I'll pay you X amount of dollars to come in and clean up my space. I'll give you X amount of dollars to come in and, you know, at least cook for me 3 weeks 3 days out of a week. You know, those type of things, you know, those nutrients and vitamins and just taking you to the doctor, you know, being there with you if something was to happen. You know, so those are the things that you got to start to think about. You got to start to manifest and say, hey, where am I at with that? You know, a lot of people talk about, well, I'm just going to be this way for the rest of my life and I'm going to be alone. And that's a very scary view to look at life, especially if you're getting into them prime years. When you got to start having those type of conversations, the more realistic you are, the better you can prepare for yourself. But if you're delusional and you think that it's going to just all of a sudden something is going to change without you doing anything that's going to make it change, that's delusion. You know, that's wishing on a star. That's, you know, peekaboo. Hopefully, you know, they don't see you. That's that type of stuff. But reality of it is that you want to try to prepare as much as you possibly can so that you can manifest yourself into your sit down years and your retirement years and you know, just your calming down years. You know, don't let anything, you know, hit you to the point where you have to sit down. What are you going to do? So, let's be realistic. And let's be honest with ourselves. You know, we can sit around, we can play the games as long as we want to. But eventually, that gets lonely. On both ends. You know, for people to say they don't need someone, I don't need him or I don't need her. Okay. You were created to be as a pair, not as a single individual. You were meant to be able to laugh with someone. When you cry, someone there, a shoulder that you can cry on. And for men, you know, just the fact of knowing that somebody's around that, hey, that cares about you in that aspect. So you just got to be aware, because God forbid, man, that's a lonely life. That's a lonely life. It's very lonely to be in a position where you are making good money and doing good things and traveling and seeing all these different people. Hey man, make it make sense. Make it make sense. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get out of this conversation and we're gonna end this situation off with an opportunity. Like I said, if you get an opportunity to get that Assad and you can find it. You know, it's a great scent, and it's one of those that it doesn't take a lot. 1 or 2 pops and it's good. And if you got, you know, the kind of body chemistry that produces and pushes and pumps, then what you're going to do is you're going to see that that's going to be a clean thing. And to me, it actually, because I smoke cigars, I have to make sure that I have something around that kind of blends with the cigar and not take away, or it's just clashing with the cigar. Because a cigar is going to automatically have a very distinctive smell to it. You know, it's going to have a smell of distinction. Excuse me. It's going to have a smell of distinction. When you smell a cigar, it smells a certain kind of way. Especially if it's a really, really good aged cigar. It's going to smell certain. And when you put that oud, with it, or you put that perfume with it, not perfume, parfume, P-U-R-F-U-M-E, P-U-R-F-U-M, I'm sorry, means that its derivative is from oil. It's an oil-based version of what it is that you're smoking, and it lasts longer. And most of your oils, your perfumes, and your ouds are going to be on the higher end of the spectrum. You know, you can go to the Clive Christians, the Bond Number 9s, the Baccarat. You know, even some of your Tom Ford, Chanel. I'm a big fan of Chanel Blue. I like that Chanel Blue. That Chanel Blue is nice. You know, so today, what we're gonna do is talk about a recap about your smell, about your smoke, about preparing yourself for where you're going, what you're getting ready to go through in life. You know what I'm saying? Prepare yourself. I don't care what age you are. Make sure that you prepare yourself and get yourself in position where you got a plan. You got a plan. Because, unfortunately, you know, with all the spectators and financial spectators, they're saying that we're going to hit a bump. And the bump is going to be more than the 2006-07 issue. Some people say it's not going to hit housing. Some people say it's going to hit housing. So for me, you know, I'm just trying to identify where I am and how can I make sure that I secure myself. And I apologize for all the horns. You know, there's a lot of violent people out here, angry people out here driving. Smoke your cigar, relax. Smoke well, my friends. Enjoy.